ambitious but stuck. Carl Jung explains the hidden trap. You wake up with grand plans. By noon, you're scrolling. By evening, you're promising tomorrow will be different. Sound familiar? Carl Jung called this the most dangerous trap of the modern psyche. Not laziness, not lack of ambition, but something far more insidious hiding in your unconscious mind. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into Carl Jung's revolutionary understanding of why ambitious people get stuck, and more importantly, how to break free using shadow work, active imagination, and what Jung called the transcendent function. If you've ever felt like you're fighting yourself, sabotaging your own progress, or stuck in cycles of motivation followed by paralysis, this video will show you exactly what's happening in your psyche and give you practical Jungian tools to reclaim your momentum. Before we begin, if you find value in deep psychological work and practical wisdom, consider subscribing. Now, let's uncover the hidden trap. Most people think their problem is simple. I'm lazy or I lack discipline. But Jung discovered something profound. What appears as laziness is often the symptom of a much deeper psychological conflict. Think about it. You're watching this video because some part of you is ambitious. You have dreams, goals, aspirations. So why the disconnect between what you want and what you do? Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Understanding the shadow. The shadow isn't just our dark side. It's everything we've rejected about ourselves. And here's the twist. For ambitious people, the shadow often contains the very qualities we need for success. Let me explain with a case from Jung's practice. He treated a highly driven businessman who couldn't understand why he kept sabotaging important deals. Through analysis, they discovered his shadow contained his father's lazy, good-for-nothing qualities that he'd spent his whole life rejecting. But here's the key insight: that laziness actually contained the ability to rest, to be satisfied, to know when enough was enough. By rejecting it wholesale, he also rejected sustainable pacing and contentment, leaving him in perpetual exhausting overdrive that his psyche rebelled against through sabotage. The compensation principle. Jung's principle of compensation states that the psyche always seeks balance. Push too hard consciously in one direction, and the unconscious pushes back equally hard in the opposite direction. This is why perfectionists procrastinate, overachievers burn out, disciplined people binge, controlled people explode. Your unconscious isn't your enemy. It's trying to save you from your own one-sidedness. The modern epidemic. In our achievement-obsessed culture, we've collectively thrown certain qualities into the shadow. Rest becomes laziness. Contentment becomes settling. Process becomes wasting time. Being becomes inferior to doing. No wonder our psyches rebel. We're asking them to operate like machines, not like the complex, rhythmic, natural systems they are. The three shadow patterns that stall progress. Pattern 1. The avoidance shadow. This is when you've relegated decisiveness and confrontation to your shadow. You appear lazy, but you're actually overwhelmed by unexpressed aggression and assertiveness. Signs you have an avoidance shadow. You procrastinate on tasks that require you to take a stand. You feel exhausted by simple decisions. You fantasize about dramatic confrontations, but avoid minor conflicts. You feel angry, but express it as tiredness. The Jungian insight: your psyche is protecting you from the explosive force of your own repressed power. Every avoided task represents an avoided confrontation with your own strength. Case example: Jung described a patient who couldn't finish his dissertation. Through dream analysis, they discovered he associated completion with his tyrannical father's demands. To finish meant to become the tyrant. The unconscious solution? Never finish. Pattern 2. The perfectionism shadow. Here, you've cast good enough into the shadow. You can't start because you can't guarantee perfection. Signs you have a perfectionism shadow. You have dozens of unstarted projects. You research endlessly, but never execute. You abandon projects at the first mistake. You feel contempt for others' mediocre work. The Jungian insight: perfectionism is often a defense against the shadow of ordinariness. To be ordinary is psychologically equivalent to death for someone who has built their identity on being special. Jung noted, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Why this matters? Your perfectionism isn't high standards, it's shadow projection. You've made imperfection so monstrous in your unconscious that any action risks encountering this monster. Pattern 3. The diffusion shadow. This is when focus and commitment have been relegated to the shadow. You start everything, finish nothing. Signs you have a diffusion shadow. You're always starting fresh with new systems. You have multiple parallel projects in various states of abandonment. You feel trapped by any commitment. You rationalize quitting as pivoting or evolving. The Jungian insight often stems from an unconscious association between commitment and death, psychological death of possibilities. Every choice kills infinite other choices. Jung observed that modern humans suffer from the tyranny of possibilities. We've lost the capacity for what he called voluntary limitation, the sacred choosing that makes depth possible. Part 3. The projection trap, 1500 to 2000. How we project our shadow onto success. Here's something rarely discussed. We don't just project our shadow onto people. We project it onto our goals, our future selves, and success itself. When success carries your shadow projections, approaching it feels like approaching a monster. Common shadow projections onto success. Successful people are selfish. Shadow content, your own healthy selfishness. Result, you sabotage success to stay good. Money corrupts. Shadow content, your own relationship with power. Result, you unconsciously avoid financial growth. Recognition means selling out. Shadow content, your own desire to be seen. Result, you hide your best work. The projection test. Jung provided a simple test. What qualities do you most despise in successful people in your field? That's likely your shadow content and exactly what you need to integrate for authentic success. One client of Jung's contemporary despised shameless self-promoters. Through analysis, she discovered she'd relegated healthy pride and self-advocacy to her shadow after childhood experiences of being called show-off. Her disgust was proportional to her repression. The integration paradox. Here's the beautiful irony. The very qualities you judge in others' success are often the missing pieces of your own. But integration doesn't mean becoming what you hate. It means conscious relationship with those energies. Reclaiming your willpower through shadow work. The energy economics of the shadow. Every shadow content you repress requires psychological energy to keep repressed. Jung called this the economy of the psyche. You're literally exhausting yourself maintaining your repressions. This is why shadow work doesn't just resolve conflicts, it liberates energy. Practical shadow work exercise. Number 1. The irritation inventory. Step 1. List 5 people who irritate you most. Step 2. Write their most irritating qualities. Step 3. Find one way you exhibit each quality, even in subtle form. Step 4. Ask, how might this quality, consciously integrated, serve my goals? Example. You hate aggressive networkers. Shadow content. Ability to pursue connections. Integrated form. Conscious, authentic relationship building. Practical shadow work. Exercise number 2. The success interview. Imagine interviewing your successful future self. Ask, what quality did you have to develop? What did you have to sacrifice? What did you have to accept about yourself? Now notice, which answers make you uncomfortable? That discomfort points to shadow content. Practical shadow work exercise number 3. Active imagination dialogue. Jung's technique of active imagination can reveal shadow dynamics. Visualize your procrastination/resistance as a figure. Ask it, what are you protecting me from? Listen without judgment. Ask, what do you need to feel safe letting me proceed? Negotiate a conscious agreement. One analyzed and discovered his procrastination was a guardian protecting him from his father's workaholism. The negotiation? Structured rest periods in exchange for focused work. The transcendent function. Jung's transcendent function describes the psyche's ability to unite opposites. Instead of either-or, ambitious or lazy, we seek both and, rhythmic engagement. This isn't compromise, it's synthesis. A new third thing emerges from the tension of opposites. Building your individuated path, beyond generic productivity. Most productivity advice assumes one size fits all. Jung knew better. Individuation means finding your way, not the way. Your optimal rhythm depends on your psychological type, thinking, feeling, intuition, sensation, your shadow configuration, your personal myth, your stage of individuation, discovering your psychological type and work style. If you're a thinking type, you need logical structures. Shadow, often neglect feeling values. Integration, include meaning-making in your schedule. If you're a feeling type, you need value alignment. Shadow, often neglect logical analysis. Integration, create systems that honor both efficiency and values. If you're an intuitive type, you need variety and possibility. Shadow, often neglect concrete details. Integration, build structures that allow for emergence. If you're a sensation type, you need tangible progress. Shadow, often neglect long-term vision. Integration, connect daily actions to larger meaning. The personal myth. Jung believed we each live out a personal myth, an unconscious story that shapes our lives. Discovering yours reveals why certain goals resonate and others don't. Questions to uncover your myth. What stories captivated you as a child? What historical or mythical figures do you admire? What would the movie of your ideal life look like? What death would make your life feel complete? Your productivity system should align with your myth, not fight it. Creating your individuated rhythm. Instead of forcing yourself into conventional schedules, design around your psychological reality. Morning questions. Conscious intention. What does my conscious self want today? What does my unconscious need today? How can I honor both? Evening questions. Shadow integration. What did I avoid today? Why? What irritated me today? What does that reveal? Where did I surprise myself? The sacred schedule. Jung maintained strict boundaries between conscious work and unconscious exploration. He called this temenos, sacred space. Your sacred schedule might include protected creative time, conscious work, dream work or journaling, unconscious exploration, active imagination, dialogue, physical activity, embodiment, rest, regeneration, simple rituals for converting insight to action. The morning shadow check-in. Before checking phones or diving into tasks, ask, what am I resisting today? Feel, where does that resistance live in your body? Dialogue, what is the resistance protecting? Integrate. How can I honor both the resistance and my goal? Act. Take one small step that includes both energies. The two-chair technique. Place two chairs facing each other. Chair 1, your ambitious self. Chair 2, your lazy self. Physically switch chairs as you dialogue between them. Find the third position, standing between both chairs, that honors both. The energy audit. Track not just what you do, but how tasks affect your energy. What tasks energize you, aligned with conscious goals? What tasks drain you, possible shadow conflicts? What tasks feel neutral, integrated activities? Look for patterns. Draining tasks often indicate shadow material needing integration. The weekly shadow review. Every week, review procrastinations. What did I avoid? What shadow quality might help? Projections. Who annoyed me? What quality needs integration? Patterns. What cycles repeated? What are they protecting? Progress. Where did integration create flow? The commitment ritual. When starting a new project, honor the sacrifice. What possibilities are you killing by choosing this? Acknowledge the shadow. What shadow qualities will this require? Set boundaries. What are you not willing to sacrifice? Create containers. How will you hold both discipline and flow? Establish rhythm. When will you push? When will you rest? Closing. The path forward. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This isn't about conquering laziness or maximizing productivity. It's about individuation. Becoming whole by integrating your shadow, honoring your psychological type, and finding your unique rhythm. The hidden trap isn't laziness. It's the unconscious belief that you must reject parts of yourself to succeed. True success comes from integration, not amputation. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's the guardian of your unlived life. Every procrastination, every self-sabotage, every resistance is a message from your unconscious about what needs integration. The path forward isn't harder work, it's wholer work. Not perfect discipline, but conscious relationship with all parts of your psyche. Remember, you're not broken, you're not lazy. You're a complex psychological being trying to force yourself into simple behavioral boxes. Stop fighting yourself. Start integrating yourself. Your assignment: choose one shadow quality you've been rejecting. This week, find one small way to consciously express it in service of your goals. If this resonated, subscribe for more content on Jungian psychology, individuation, and practical inner work. Drop a comment sharing what shadow quality you're ready to integrate. Until next time, remember, the goal isn't to eliminate the shadow, it's to dance with it.